This year has been one of the best years I have ever had for reading, which sounds ridiculous because I said last year was my best year ever. But a lot has changed this year in my reading habits, and let's just talk about my mid-year freakout. I had to make notes so that I could keep track of everything. So far this year, I have had my reading project of Lois McMaster Bujold. I've read a lot of her stuff. I binged Dungeon Crawler Carl, all of them in 20 days, and absolutely loved them. I've reread some all-time favorites. I just have so much going on. I've noticed I've had like 3 months in a row where I've had one 2-star book, and then the rest have been 4 or 5s. And it's not that I'm just like handing out 5 stars like they're candy. I've just read a lot of really good books. And this mid-year freakout was really hard to kind of decide where everything went. I tried not to put the same author in every section, Matt Dinniman, and I tried to not put Lois McMaster Bujold in those same sections because so far I've read 7 Matt Dinniman books this year and 15 Bujold books, maybe 16. So let's just get into this mid-year freakout. So starting with question 1, best book you've read so far this year. I have like 25-star books so far this year. Like I said in the beginning, this is probably the best reading year of my life. You know, breaking it down, we got all the Dungeon Crawler Carl, we've got all the Penrick and Desdemona books. I read Startide Rising at the beginning of the year. I forgot that I read that this year because it just feels like it was a million years ago and it was back in January. And I think that's one of the best science fiction books I've ever read. It's just incredible and it deserves the Triple Crown that it won. But if I've got to nail it down to a single book, please don't stop watching because I'm about to name a nonfiction book because the rest of the list is all fiction. But it's The Baseball 100 by Joe Posnanski. I was looking at it on Goodreads. I think it's the highest rated baseball book of all time on Goodreads. I think it's one of the highest rated books on Goodreads with over 4,000 reviews. I think it has like 4,600, which is a lot for a baseball book because one, a lot of people don't read. Even less people use Goodreads, and then even less people that read use Goodreads also like baseball. So that's a lot of reviews for such a niche book. The Baseball 100 reinvigorated my love for baseball. I mean, I've been obsessed with baseball for like 13 years now, but it had started to wane. You know, it was nice to watch the Rangers win a World Series, but the Baseball 100 just completely changed how I look at baseball and just gave me a whole new reason to love the sport. Like, I've always loved baseball because of the history, and this book, The Baseball 100, takes who Joe Posnanski thinks are the 100 best players to ever play the game, like the best representatives of the sport, and he just talks about their lives, and every single page is just a love letter to the sport. And any baseball fans out there, this is a must-read book for you. Now I'm done talking about baseball, so let's move on to number 2. Best sequel, The Butcher's Masquerade by Matt Dinniman, or really any sequel in the series. I loved every single sequel more than the last, but I think that The Butcher's Masquerade stands out the most because that's when things started to get real. The stakes are the highest they've ever been, and I feel like that is the first book where Carl and Donut really get the control of their lives back. As much of it as they can get, considering they're slaves in a dungeon. The Butcher's Masquerade is just so good from start to finish, and it has the best dialogue between Donut and Carl at the end. It's one of the most beautiful passages in speculative fiction. It's so good. It's so heart-wrenching, and I loved it. So yeah, it's definitely got to be The Butcher's Masquerade for best sequel. Now, number 3, favorite read. The first 3 Travis McGee novels. Number 3, favorite reread. I'm going to cheat a little and say the first 3 Travis McGee novels. Yes, this is a very rare hardcover that is all 3 of the first novels. I think this came out in like 1967. It's called 3 for McGee. It's wonderful. Yeah, half of the reason I chose this was as a flex of this. I have done quite a few rereads this year. I think the runner-up would be Shadows Linger, just because, I mean, it's Shadows Linger. It's one of the best Black Company novels. Number 4, genre you've been loving. This ties into favorite reread, and that would be crime novels. This year, I've reread a bunch of Travis McGee. At the beginning of the year, I finished the series. I read like the last 5 or 6, and I've read Dortmunder, which was a banger. I've read Brass Cupcake by John D. MacDonald, which was, okay. I read the first Lou Archer novel by Ross MacDonald, The Moving Target, also very good. Crime has been my thing this year. It's funny because I read a lot of science fiction and fantasy, but now almost every time I go to pick up my next read, I look at crime fiction. I mean, a lot. I was about to say that I wanted to make it a part of my literary diet, but it already is. I think I've read a crime novel every month this year. So yeah, crime fiction, real good stuff. Number 5, new releases you haven't read yet but want to. The only one I can think of is Written on the Dark by Guy Gavriel Kay. I've read 4 of his books, and every single one of them has been a 5-star read. Song for Our Bond, Sailing to Sarantium, Lord of Emperors, and The Lions of Alrasan. I don't think Guy Gabriel Kay can do any wrong in my book at this point. Even his worst books are probably going to still be good reads for me. So that's the one I'm looking for. I don't think the man can miss. Most anticipated release for the second half of the year. I've already read it, and that's Lies Weeping by Glenn Cook, but I'm looking forward to the audiobook. I had a really good time with the book. I really liked it to the point that I want to read it again 4 months after I read it for the first time. And I want to give the audio a try because I've only listened to 3 Black Company novels. I read the whole series like Eyes on Paper, and I want to do all of them in audio for my reread. And, I'm taking my time. Next up is The White Rose, but I don't even know if I'll get to that before Lies Weeping comes out on audio. But that's what I'm really looking forward to. All right, now number 7, biggest disappointment. I want to say Guardians of the Flame, like the series that was just the original lit RPG series and was awful, but I never had high expectations for it going in. So how can I be disappointed? I've read a few bad books this year, but it's hard to nail down one. I mean, maybe Of Blood and Fire by Ryan Cahill, but I don't think I can be disappointed with that either because I went in with no expectations. I think that's one of my problems with picking a book that's a disappointment because I don't really get into the hype of books, and I go into anything I read with just a blank slate. Like if you're a new author to me and a new book, I go in expecting to have a good time. I don't expect the book to be amazing. I just expect to enjoy my experience reading it. It's hard to get disappointed with books. But yeah, it's probably Guardians of the Flame because they were quite disappointing. The first book was okay, and then the second book was such a deep spike into Turdville that, yeah, we'll go with Guardians of the Flame. Biggest surprise, that would be For the Emperor by Sandy Mitchell. I just talked about it in my wrap up not too long ago, but it's a picaresque that takes place in the 40K universe. It is wonderfully written. It is funny, action packed, such a great book. And Sandy Mitchell understood the assignment when it comes to writing a book in that style in the 40K universe. I had such a great time with it. I can't recommend it enough. If you want to start reading books in the Warhammer 40K universe, start with that one. What's nice is it's a very focused novel on a single character in a single place with some stuff going on around him. Only 1 or 2 extra factions in the 40K universe are in there beyond the Imperial Guard, which makes it really easy for new 40K readers to get a grasp on what's going on. If you see something like when they start talking about some of the antagonists in the book, you can just look it up, get you a picture in your head, scroll the Wikipedia entry about it. Don't take too long because wow, some of those are hundreds of pages long if you printed them out. I spent like a month reading the Ultramarines one, and I think I only got halfway through it before I gave up. And what I would do is just read it for like 20-30 minutes every morning. And I was just like, okay, I think I'm done here. But anyways, For the Emperor, Sandy Mitchell. Biggest surprise. Favorite new author, debut or new to you? Matt Denneman. Like I said, I read the entire series in 20 days. It took less than a chapter of Dungeon Crawler Carl for me to know that I was all in on the series. I loved every second of every book. I think it's magnificent. I'm glad that I waited to read the entire series because that meant that book 7 was out in audio and I could go through all of them like I did in less than 3 weeks. But man, I want to reread them right now. I think about it at least once a week that I want to read the series again. Matt Denneman is wonderful. Number 10, newest fictional crush. I'm gonna go with Penrith. Who doesn't love a tall, lean man that is an expert at disguising himself as a woman? It's really funny because in the series, he catches women's eye all the time, sometimes men's eye. And he's just very pale, very soft featured for a man, but lean. And when he does disguise himself as a woman, thanks to the help of Desdemona, his demon, wow, does he look like a woman. I mean, one of my favorite books in the series, I'll give a brief description of it, is Man in Drag Cures Cancer. It's so good. Mira's Last Dance. Like, you got to get to that book in the series at least because it's so fun and it's one of the shortest ones in the series. Number 11, newest favorite character. That's going to be Dortmunder in Donald E. Westlake's Caper series. He's smart, witty, and nothing goes right for him. I really enjoyed the Hot Rock. I had a ton of fun. Within the first 2 pages of that book, you know who Dortmunder is as a character, and you already love him. So it's got to be that. And I'm looking forward to reading more books in the series. Number 12, book that made you cry. Now, I finished my John D. MacDonald project this year, and I started rereading them. But The Lonely Silver Rain by John D. MacDonald is the book that made me cry the most this year. It was never meant to be the final book in the series, but it works perfectly as like a cap on the story of Travis McGee. It's heartfelt and beautiful, and through the whole thing, there's this quirky little mystery that ends up being the main plot of the story. because you're going through this book and the whole time he's trying to solve a different crime, or he's trying to solve a different mystery, and this other little one is kind of in the background, and it comes to the forefront about 3/4 of the way through the book and becomes one of the best books in the series. I adore that book, and I can't wait to read it again. I don't know if I'll be able to read it, like listen to it in public, because I'll just be blubbering like a baby the whole time. But yeah, it's definitely The Lonely Silver Rain. Number 13, book that made you happy. Now, I said I was going to try to avoid duplicates on the list from different authors, which, already broke that rule with John D. MacDonald, so let's break it with Lois McMaster Bujold. Every single Penrick and Desdemona book has given me some kind of joy. Cathartic joy, I'm so happy I want to cry joy. The series makes me feel like everything is going to be okay and that good people exist in the world. Very few book series, when I read them, fill me with a sense of contentment and just happiness that I get to experience the world and be around others. And that series does it. It's so good. I think anyone who wants fantasy that will just make you feel good about life and will just bring you little bits of joy, you gotta read the Penrick and Desdemona series. The books are super short, just start them. I am hoping that the Vorkosigan saga beats out Penrick and Desdemona as my favorite Bujold series, but I don't know if it can, because if it does, it's probably gonna skyrocket to the top 3 book series I've ever read. As of right now, Penrick and Desdemona is my favorite thing Lois McMaster Bujold has ever written, and it's one of my favorite series in fantasy. Now, most beautiful book you've received or bought. You know what? I'm just going to cheat and I'm going to say it's my Kobo. It's a beautiful book. It's an ebook, but it's a beautiful book. If you want to see the beautiful books I get, you got to watch my book hauls. I even have a playlist of them. And then here's the cool thing is through Caliber, you can put whatever cover you want on whatever book you own. And then your lock screen on your Kobo is that beautiful cover. And with a Kobo Libra color, it's in color. Every time I see the lock screen on my e-reader, it's whatever beautiful cover I want it to be. So there you go. There's my cop-out answer. You just got to deal with it. Number 15, books you need to read before the end of the year. Lois McMaster Bujold's bibliography. I've got half of her books left. I got to finish the last 2 books in the World of the Five Gods series. So we've got The Hallowed Hunt and Paladin of Souls. Then I have the 4 Sharing Knife novels, along with Knife Children, the novella that takes place in that world. And then I have the rest of the Vorkosigan series, other than the first 2 books. I got quite a bit, but nothing unmanageable. And like I said at the beginning of the year, I didn't even know if I wanted to make this my project, because doing a project for the whole year can be stressful and I don't want to take the joy out of reading. But as of right now, I'm getting nothing but joy from this project. And even if it has to bleed into next year, into January or February, that's okay. Number 16, favorite book community members. I have too many to list. It's every booktuber that I watch, that I interact with. It's one of the reasons I still have a channel. I love being a part of this conversation about books because, let's be real. BookTube is not the place you go to have a crazy popular channel. You start a BookTube channel so that you can interact with other people that enjoy books, because there are less of those people every year, and it sucks. But you know what doesn't suck? All the awesome people on BookTube. That's it for my Mid-Year Freakout Tag. Let me know in the comments your answers to the Mid-Year Freakout Tag. I'll post the questions in the description, or let me know if we share some of the same favorites from this year, or, just in general. Thanks for watching, and with that, I'll see you next time.